November 12th, 1944. The transport truck stopped outside Camp Riverside, Texas, carrying 43 German women prisoners. 24-year-old Marie Fisher stepped onto American soil, her gray uniform hanging loose after losing 15 pounds since her capture in France. The Texas sun beat down intensely as the women stood in formation, exhausted and afraid. Captain James Morrison emerged from the administration building, addressing them through an interpreter. Marie barely listened, her attention fixed on an unexpected aroma drifting from the mess hall, something rich, complex, and utterly foreign. Her stomach clenched painfully. Beside her, 19-year-old Anna Klein swayed from exhaustion. Greta Hoffman, the oldest at 31 and a former nurse, steadied the girl. They had learned to support each other during the crossing, when illness threatened to break their collective spirit. Lieutenant Sarah Bennett, one of the few female American officers, approached with apparent concern. She gestured toward the barracks, indicating they would rest. It was more consideration than Marie expected from the enemy. As they filed toward their quarters, that cooking smell grew stronger. Marie's mouth watered involuntarily, betraying the discipline she'd maintained throughout captivity. Whatever awaited them had already challenged her first assumption about American cruelty. The enemy, it seemed, believed in feeding their prisoners. The barracks were sparse but clean. Marie claimed a bed near the window where she could see the perimeter fence and vast Texas landscape beyond. At precisely 5 o'clock, a bell rang. Through the window, Marie saw soldiers gathering near the mess hall. Lieutenant Bennett appeared with young Corporal Thomas Hayes, who attempted clumsy German. "Essen," he said, gesturing. "Food, you come now." The women filed toward the mess hall, uncertain and anxious. Corporal Hayes tried another German phrase, then gave up. "Fried chicken tonight," he said in English. The words meant nothing to Marie. The mess hall doors opened, releasing heat and aroma that stopped Marie in her tracks. Long tables held metal trays, each with 3 pieces of golden brown chicken glistening under overhead lights. Beside the chicken sat mashed potatoes, green beans, and a roll with butter. Marie's hands trembled. This couldn't be real. Behind the counter stood a tall black man in uniform, his chef's apron spotless. Staff Sergeant Marcus Williams watched their reactions with quiet observation. He had prepared this food with his own hands. Lieutenant Bennett gestured for them to sit. The women moved like sleepwalkers, eyes never leaving their trays. Marie sat slowly, Anna beside her. Across the table, young Anna stared at her portion with eyes threatening tears. No one moved to eat. 43 women sat in silence, confronting food that contradicted every expectation. Captain Morrison stood and spoke briefly. The interpreter translated, "You will eat now. This is your evening meal. You will receive 3 meals daily. Every day. This is standard, every day. Portions like this." Greta Hoffman picked up her fork with deliberate dignity. "We eat," she said quietly in German. "We maintain our strength." When Greta cut into her chicken, when the fork pierced the crispy skin, her composure cracked. Steam rose, carrying scents Marie couldn't name. Greta brought the fork to her mouth, chewed slowly, and her eyes closed. Marie watched Greta's expression transform and felt her resolve crumbling. She cut into the chicken leg, feeling the skin crack, hearing the sound. She lifted the fork and bit down. 3 weeks passed, in a rhythm. Marie struggled to accept. Every Wednesday brought fried chicken that haunted her thoughts and slowly dismantled her worldview. On the 4th Wednesday, Marie approached Lieutenant Bennett. "I work kitchen, please. I help cooking." Soon Marie stood in the camp kitchen wearing an apron, facing Sergeant Marcus Williams. He gestured to metal bowls, raw chicken pieces, containers of flour and spices. He spoke slowly, demonstrating each step. First came the buttermilk soak, then the seasoned flour, salt, black pepper, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, cayenne. He measured nothing, working from instinct. Marie tried to mimic his movements. He corrected her gently, guiding her fingers to feel the right consistency, the proper way to coat each piece. When the chicken went into hot oil, he showed her how to listen for the right sound. This man, whom her propaganda training had taught her to despise, was teaching her his craft with patience and respect. He treated her not as defeated enemy, but as someone worthy of learning something he valued. By evening, Marie stood behind the serving counter beside Sergeant Williams, serving the meal she'd helped create. Wednesday dinners evolved beyond simple meals. By December, the mess hall had transformed into something resembling community. Other German women joined kitchen work. The barrier between prisoner and captor blurred. Corporal Hayes began sitting with the German women during meals, his German phrasebook always in hand. He showed them photographs of his family's farm in Nebraska. Sergeant Williams emerged from the kitchen one evening and sat at their table. Lieutenant Bennett translated his words. He spoke about Mississippi, about his grandmother who'd perfected this recipe during slavery, passing it down through generations as resistance and dignity. Marie listened, understanding perhaps half the English words, but grasping all the meaning. January 1945 brought letters from Germany. Marie's hands shook, recognizing her mother's handwriting. She read 3 times before the words penetrated. Her family was starving. Her younger sister had lost 30 pounds. They were eating turnips and potato peels. That evening, the Wednesday chicken felt different. Marie stood in the kitchen beside Sergeant Williams, thinking about her sister's hollow cheeks, her father trading his watch for bread. She looked at the abundance before her and felt crushing guilt. May 8, 1945. Victory in Europe Day. The war was over. Within days, Captain Morrison received repatriation orders. The 43 women would return to Germany within 6 weeks. The announcement should have brought relief. Instead, it brought paralyzing uncertainty. June 15, 1945. Captain Morrison called a mandatory assembly to finalize procedures. When he finished and asked for questions, silence filled the hall. Then Marie stood up. "Captain Morrison," she said in careful English, "may I speak for some of us?" He nodded slowly. "We have been talking. Many of us. We do not wish to return to Germany. Not now. Maybe not ever." The statement landed like a physical blow. Prisoners didn't refuse repatriation. Anna stood beside Marie. Then Greta rose. Young Anna stood, tears streaming. One by one, 17 women rose, united by shared understanding. "We have nothing to go back to," Marie continued. "But here, we have found dignity, purpose, a chance to become better than what we were." 25 years later, in 1970, Marie Fisher stood in her Houston restaurant's kitchen. The sign outside read Marie's Kitchen, German and American cuisine. She was 49, an American citizen for 18 years, a business owner for 12. Every Wednesday, she still made fried chicken using Sergeant Marcus Williams's recipe. He had passed in 1963, but his grandson had visited last year with his children. Of the 17 women who chose to stay in 1945, 14 successfully immigrated. Anna owned a bakery 3 blocks away. Greta was a registered nurse. Tonight, Marie's restaurant hosted a special gathering. Former prisoners and guards, now simply friends, commemorating the 30th anniversary of victory in Europe Day. Marie raised her glass. To Sergeant Williams, who taught us that dignity tastes like fried chicken, and that the greatest victory is choosing love over hate. Outside, Houston's traffic hummed with the sound of a city built by people from everywhere, including former enemies who had learned to break bread together.